Hi, I'm Mindy, and welcome back to Still Processing. Wherever it is you're watching or listening, I'm glad you're here. Today, I'll be reading Chapter 14, Leaving the Victim Mindset, Reclaiming Your Power After Heartbreak. It started with a drive-by. No, not the violent kind. Just me in the passenger seat of my friend's car, silently begging the universe to just give me some kind of sign. I had been stood up that night by a guy I'd been texting for several weeks. This had been the first time since I was single/widowed that I had dated someone who said he was looking for something serious. I wasn't wanting serious or even a situationship. It was only a few months into the dating scene after a long marriage that ended in tragedy. Serious was not on my list, like at all. In fact, I think my Tinder bio started out with not looking for anything serious, but still, it stung. Was he at home ignoring me or out somewhere singing karaoke without me? Or worse, was he with someone else? We drove slowly past his yellow apartment, my eyes scanning for his work truck like a detective in a crime show, my heart pounding with that awful mix of hope and humiliation. Mindy, my friend said gently, "Why are we driving by this guy's house? You do realize this is kind of crazy, right?" She wasn't wrong. I thought while rerouting my plan to drive by the karaoke bar after this. I'd been through heartbreak and death and trauma and therapy. I'd survived the loss of a husband to suicide. I'd walked through the fire and come out stronger. And yet, here I was, worried about some oil field worker with a mullet not giving me the time of day. A permed mullet, that is. Crawling back into old patterns, chasing down crumbs from someone who didn't even remember my last name, someone who didn't care, someone I was projecting all my worth onto, as if his interest in me determined my value somehow. Why we stay stuck in victim mode. In that moment, I wasn't just a woman in a car. I was every version of me who had ever waited by the phone for a reply, who had ever refreshed a text thread hoping the right emoji might mean I mattered. I was old Mindy, grasping for proof that I was wanted, and I was future Mindy, watching it all happen, heart aching with truth she wasn't ready to speak. This is not what love feels like. We crave belonging so much that we wait for others to show us our worth. We look outside ourselves for the love we need and the connection that we require. So when we're cut off or cast aside, the heartbreak is real and unfair. And it's so tempting to stay in that story, especially when it's all you've ever known. They hurt me. They abandoned me. They wasted my time. And sometimes those things are absolutely true. But sitting in that truth for too long starts to poison us. Because the more time we spend replaying the pain, the more rooted we become in our own disempowerment. Even after the relationship ends, the person who hurt us still takes up space in our head and our hearts. And not because we miss them, but because we're still waiting for them to come back and fix the ending. And we don't even realize it. We think we're healing, but underneath it all, we're rehearsing our pain. We're validating the negative story that felt so bad in the first place. We're clinging to the version of the story where we're done wrong. We were done wrong because other people get it. They validate us. They say things like, "You didn't deserve that. He's the worst. And men are trash." And while all of that might be comforting for a while, it doesn't actually help us get free. That night in the car was my moment of clarity. I finally saw the pattern for what it was. I was choosing to look for external acceptance and love, not from the right person, or not because I wanted to, but because it felt familiar. It felt like home in a really dysfunctional, trauma bonded sort of way. Searching for connection with someone who was just outside my reach, seemed to be the most natural thing I had learned about love. The attention I was chasing wasn't even about him. It was about not wanting to feel unlovable again. How to start reclaiming your power. It begins with telling the truth. Here's how I started climbing out of that place. Flip the script. Instead of saying he wasted my time, I started saying I learned what I won't tolerate again. Acknowledge your role without shame. Yes, he ghosted me, but also I ignored the red flags. He told me he was terrible on our first date, and yet I started to chase them anyway. Someone who wasn't showing up, and that doesn't make me bad. It just means I was still healing. Take responsibility for your healing. No one is going to rescue you but you. The only person who can rewrite the story is you. And once you realize that, the whole narrative begins to shift. Here's a tool for you. The main character energy in real life. The first time I actually used this practice was a week after that night in the car. I got a message from someone who had breadcrumbed me for months. It would have been so easy to fall back into the fantasy. Instead, I pulled out my journal and wrote the scene. Me getting the message, pausing, smiling to myself, then setting my phone down and going to see a movie alone. Anyway, happy, free. That was the version of myself I wanted to live into. The main character energy mini class. I created this practice to help women, myself included, move from passive pain to powerful creation. Here's how to start reclaiming your narrative. Step 1, see the scene from the outside. Imagine your life as a movie. What role are you playing? When you're watching yourself on the screen, just being stood up, you're on the couch in your cozy socks, feeling sorry for yourself, about to drive past your crush's apartment. What would you want for her if she was the main character? How would you want to see the scene play out? Would you root for her to go full FBI stalker mode, chasing after some loser? Or would you yell at the screen, "Girl, you deserve so much better than this"? That's your first clue. Follow that. Step 2, rewrite the story. Now, write the scene again, outside looking in. But this time, you're the main character. You're not the sidekick. You're not the sad girl background character crying on the couch. You're the lead. You get to decide what happens next. What choices does she make? What does she choose from this moment on? How does she start showing up for herself differently? And what does that look like? Step 3, step into the role. Main character energy doesn't mean pretending that everything's okay. It means deciding that you're the one driving the plot, making the decisions and taking the reins. Instead of being rooted in anxiety for your future and focused on the problem, you become passionate about changing the outcome that you're headed towards. You're not waiting on someone else to love you, apologize to you, or finally realize your worth. You already know it, and you're living from that place now. Meeting your empowered self. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture her, future you. She's walking through a coffee shop, glowing, grounded, not scanning the room for anyone, not rehearsing a perfect reply. She's not hoping anyone will finally choose her. She's already chosen herself. She is whole, and the world feels different from here. She makes decisions with clarity. She rests easy in her own skin. That woman, she's not far away. She's already within you. She's just been waiting for you to stop looking back so she can lead. Closing encouragement. You are allowed to be heartbroken and powerful at the same time. Just because someone doesn't choose you doesn't mean that you're not worthy. It doesn't mean love has passed you by. And it doesn't mean you're stuck. What it means is you're human. You care deeply. You wanted connection. And now you get to decide what happens next. You get to choose what this means for you. It's okay that you chased after someone who didn't see your value. That version of you was doing the best she could with what she knew. But now you know more. Now you see it. And seeing it is what starts to shift it. You don't need to beg, perform, or prove your worth to anyone. Not anymore. That energy that you've been pouring into people who don't show up for you, it's time for you to bring that home now. It's returning to you. And with it comes your clarity, your power, and your next chapter. You're not broken, you're becoming. And the version of you that's on the other side of this, she's not chasing anyone. She's not waiting for a text. She's building a life so full, so beautiful, so magnetic that anything that is not naturally meant for her just falls away. This isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of the best part. Thank you. That concludes chapter 14. Thank you for being here today. And again, if this resonates with you at all, if there's someone you know who may benefit from this, please pass it along their way. And until next time, love you, mean it.